Well, welcome back, everybody. This is another tutorial from a page that I've been inspired by called the Book of Kells. This is part 2 of part 1. This drawing tutorial was broken up into two parts. And the first part you can find on Patreon. I have a new Patreon page. It has a couple of videos on there. It's pretty new, so there isn't a lot on there. But basically what you're going to find there is a lot of what I have on this YouTube channel, only maybe more in depth, more details, longer videos, that kind of stuff. So part 1 is on my Patreon page. And in part 1, we fleshed out how to create the grid work, how to divide up the grid, how to lay out the basic shapes, how to rough in the basic details, and how to get the initial loops drawn in. I apologize now for my Patreon viewers, because at the end of that video I did a little oopsie and I screwed up these lines in here. They should have been overlapped and I didn't make them overlap. And then the spacing wasn't right for the heads. This was a very complicated part of the drawing. So I ended up fixing that off camera because it took me a little while to kind of work out how I went wrong. But anyway, what we're working off of, I'm just going to give you, I'm not going to go through this because I want to make this a shorter video today. But this is the page that we're working off of, and this is the panel. Last tutorial I did, we worked off these horses, foxes, whatever they are. These are definitely foxes in here that we're working on. Okay, so this is the panel that we're working on. If you want more information about that, that is in the first video. Go head on over to Patreon, become a member. It's only $4 a month, and you'll support me in doing more in-depth tutorials that are longer, that I can spend a little more time on. Okay, so let's get on to part 2. This is my original version of this, where I'd get kind of, I call it my practice piece. So when we're done today, our piece is going to look sort of like this. Okay? You can take it further and you can add color to it, paint, whatever medium you want to use when you're done with the line work. I think today, since I already did an inked version, I think today, and in the interest of time, I'm going to just do line work again, but probably using pencil and maybe add some shading. But we'll kind of feel out how long this video is when we get to that point. All right, so let's kind of jump in here. Where I left this from the first video was, this is the point now from here on where we do the details. So I fixed this in here. Unfortunately, it would have been a very long video if I had filmed this. The heads and the threads and the back ends were, they were all off kilter because I didn't do the overlaps right. So if you haven't seen the first one, what's going on here, these are foxes. So this is your head. This loop is the zoomorphic body, and this hind end is like the haunches, the hind leg. And from the hind leg, there is a thread that winds its way around and ends up, the foot ends up behind the ear. This little teardrop shape is the front leg. And from the front leg, you have this thread that kind of winds its way through the links, creating overs and unders, and ending up back, winding its way around the the head of the link before it, and then its foot kind of ends up behind that link's hind leg. So it's this kind of windy little thing that I broke down into pieces. And we're now at the point where we can put in some details. So what we're going to do today is there's eyes in there. We'll do a little bit of detail on the foot. Then we're going to get the line work drawn in. And then after the line work, inside of these, shapes, some of the shapes, there is like a, I don't know if this comes up on camera, but there is like a double line on the original drawing. And this is from an ancient manuscript, by the way. I might have skipped that part, but this is Book of Durrow. It's an ancient illuminated manuscript that I'm taking this from. So I'm just sort of copying the design, kind of working out how to draw it, that kind of stuff. All right, so let's kind of jump in so we don't make this a long video. And I'm just going to grab, I think, let's see, maybe a medium shade pencil, maybe an HB, something like that, nothing too dark. And I want to kind of draw in these weird eyes that they like to put in. So that's where I want to start today. And they don't have to perfectly match. We're not looking for, like I said in my first video, I was saying over and over again, it's consistency more than perfection. So we're not looking for perfect. The artists who did these designs, they weren't perfect either. And you can see the hand of the artist when you look at the manuscripts. Oops, sorry about that. Now let's see. And you know, when you do this drawing on it, if you haven't noticed yet, but the top and the bottom mirror each other. So when you do it, it's going to be easier for you to just kind of flip your drawing around. But I can't do that because if I do that, then my camera setup is all wrong again. All right, so we have the eyes in. While we're here, let's just kind of do a little bit of and we're going to go in and kind of, I probably should wait to do these little details, but in fact I think I will. They'll look a little better when I get some of the line work done. So I think from here we got the eyes drawn in. What I would like to do is grab a much darker kind of pencil. I'm going to go with like maybe a 5B, but I'm going to do a much darker pencil. And I'm just going to go in and start outlining and cleaning up any lines that I want clean. We'll just go in and we'll start doing that. So where do I want to start? I'm going to start over here. Now my original lines that are there are sketchy lines, and that's fine for what that was. But we want to be a little cleaner now because these are going to be the more permanent lines. And I am trying to stay out of the camera. I apologize if I'm in it. I got to get a new setup. I need a new light and camera holder. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? Well, this is kind of important. It's too early in the morning, guys. I haven't had enough coffee, so just bear with me. We can't do anything until we do the overs and unders. That's kind of important. So let's do that. All right, let me get my handy dandy eraser. A click eraser is the best thing for doing this kind of work. So let's take a look at the original drawing, and actually maybe we'll be able to see it better on mine, on my original. All right, so let's take a look at how the overlaps and underovers actually work on this design. If we just ignore this bottom row for a moment, just ignore that row. We're only going to look at the top row at the moment. If we look at it and we look at how it's constructed, it's literally this link is on top of this link, that's on top of that link, that's on top of that link. If you take a look at them, they lay on top of each other, which kind of breaks the over-under rule, but there's a reason why they did it. So we'll kind of figure that out. We'll see what that looks like later. Now, if you flip it over and look at the bottom one, you'll see that this one is on top of this one, is on top of this one, is on top of this one. So those don't overlap or go over each other here in this way. But they do overlap each other one on top of the other. So in other words, the top link does wind its way under the bottom link. Ignore these little lines for now, the smaller threads. Just focusing on the big ones. This top link goes under this bottom one, winds around and goes over, and then goes under and stays under when it loops around. Okay, so they go under, and it's the same pattern all the way across. They go, this top one goes under the bottom one and over the other side of the bottom one. Under the bottom one, over the other side, under the bottom one, over the other side. So they intertwine going across the middle, but not the up and down. They're stacked on each other, but they're linked to the one underneath. So that's important to know that. So I think we're going to start there, and we're going to work that out. It's too early in the morning, guys. I almost forgot about that, and I wouldn't have gotten too far because I would have been like, something's not right. All right, so we're going to say that this and I'm just going to erase any line that doesn't need to be there right now, and we'll fill them in later. All right, so this line, this is stacked over this one. I kind of want to, now is at a time where I think I want to start cleaning this up a little bit. I don't want that to be as pointed. Let's make that a little less so. A little more rounded. All right. So we have the first one, and while I'm here, since I'm being anal, okay, so this one lays on top of the one before it. So we're going to do the same thing across. And while we're at it, we're going to clean up the mess there. We'll give that a little bit more of a curve. Okay. Go over here. I'm going to do the last one. This one lays on top of this one. Okay. So we have that on the top. Now on the bottom, it's kind of the opposite. So this one starting here lays on top of the one before it. That lays on top of the next one. That lays on top of the next one. So on this one, we need to erase everything here. Sorry guys, it is early in the morning. I haven't even had my coffee yet, if you can believe it. I have a lot of people in the house and I got to get this done before everybody wakes up. All right, so now we got the next link. All right, we're just taking everything out. Make that a little less pointy. A little less sloppy though. All right, and then one more. Okay, so now we got that worked out. Now the next thing we need to work out is what's going on in the middle. And again, we're ignoring the little lines for now. We're just working on the big ones. All right, so how does it start? This top one goes under and then over. So we're going to do that same pattern all the way across. Get some combs off here. All right, so it goes under, and we're just going to erase for now where it goes over. And then I'll go back and I'll do the other. Link goes under, over, and okay. Just checking myself. I get a little, it can be very easy to get lost in these drawings. And now let's fix where it goes under. Nope, 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 nope. Erasing the wrong thing. Okay. This one. All right. So now our top link should go under and over, under and over, under and over, under and over. All right, so now we got that worked out. Top links are done. Now we have to go in and we have to look at the thin links. I'm going to start here just because this one is the longest one. It runs through most of the drawing and it's the one that we need to kind of get right. So let's take a look. If we look at this drawing here, it goes across and goes across the thread that's coming up this way. It goes, so it'll go over that thread. It'll go under this big thread, over the next big thread, under the next big thread, over the next little one, under, over, under, over, under, and then ends. So the little thread, while the big links don't exactly follow that rule, the thin threads do. So that's kind of what ties the whole design together. It probably would have been impossible to figure out how to wind this thread through if these links here had been overlapped with each other. It would have been probably a nightmare, if not impossible. So that's the reason why they broke that rule. So let's go ahead and start. We're going to start here. And the first one we said was going over. So we're just going to be doing a bunch of erasing and then drawing in intersection lines, just kind of darkening them so we know where they are. That's over. It goes under this next thread. Which we're going to clean up while we're here because that's awful. All right, so it went under that, and now it goes over, so I have to draw this back in. It goes under. So when I originally drew all these threads in the first video, you'll see that we just drew through because you almost can't do the under-overs as you're drawing it because you got too much to concentrate on trying to lay out the design. So, all right, so it went under this, it's going to go over this. There may come a point here where I might, let's see, under, and it's going over. I'll stop talking for a minute. There may come a point where I might just kind of stop talking and speed this up, just because I don't want this to be a very long video. I already have the first video is like an hour long, so hour and 15 minutes long. So what I might do is just kind of walk you through these first couple of panels, then I'll stop talking and I'll finish it, but I'll speed up the video. And then we can come back and we can work out what we're doing for the next step. All right, let me finish this one. So it went under, it goes over this one, it's going to go under this one, it'll go over this one, then it goes under this one, and then just kind of goes off that way. All right, so let's do the next one. We started here and we wound our way through. Now we're going to do this one, and we're going to wind our way through the next. So this one does the same thing as that one. It goes over and it goes under. Then it'll go over this one. It'll go under the next one. Over. Under. Over. Under. Over. Under and off. All right, I'm going to do one more and then I'll speed this up when I do the one on the bottom. All right, we're going to do this one. Actually, I'm going to do two more because I want to talk to you about what's going on the end. All right, so this one is over, under, over, next one is under, over, under, over, all right, let's see, we went under, over, under, this is over, under and out. Now the last one, get rid of some of these crumbs. The last one on the end, it can't do the same thing that the other ones did. It can't go this way and then down and around. So what they did is they took the thread and they went down, followed the curve of the link underneath. They did a loop-de-loop and then came back down and around this way, the same way as the rest of it. So that's how they handled that. That's how they finished that. So we're going to go, it goes over the one before it. It's going to go under this one. Hopefully I'm not in camera, guys. I apologize if I am. Okay, now it's going to do loop-de-loop. Let me clean this up a bit so it can be, you can see it better. In this loop-de-loop, it went under this one. It's going to go over this one and then back under. Then it's going to go over the next one. Let me just clean that a little. And then it's going to go under this one. Over the next one. Under, over. Let me just clean it a little. Some of these were already done, not on intentional, but just kind of because I was working on things in that part of the drawing. All right, so it's going under this. It's going to go over this. It's going to go under this. Trying to find the right angle so I'm not in the camera. Okay, and then it'll go off. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stop talking. I'm just going to go ahead and finish off the bottom part because the bottom is exactly the same. So if you take the drawing, flip it over, you're going to find the same pattern. I'm just going to start over here and I'll just show you that this line goes over. It's supposed to go over the curved line. So as long as you have that as your starting point, then you know what you're doing. So I don't need to talk about that. I'm just going to keep on drawing and I'm going to speed this drawing up. So what you just saw here was an example of screwing up. So I got to the end here and I'm like, something's wrong. And it's because I screwed up here. I got a little too carried away and I did 2 overs and then the rest of it was wrong. So I had to go back and fix it. So in order for this to be right, this has to be right. So for this one, we want to make sure we went over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under. And here we go again. Something's wrong again. Let's see. We have, let me reference my original drawing, so it's definitely over, under, over, under, over, it went under, it went over, it went under, it's supposed to go over, and then under here. So that fixes that problem. Now let's find this thread again. This thread goes over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, and off. So now we're good. Now we have one more thread we have to take a look at before we can do detail work. All right, so the next thread is this tiny thread that comes from the hind leg. We just need to go into that and we need to work out the over and under because it weaves its way in between the jaw here and then it goes off. So we need to get this part. We have this part done because we did it when we did this longer thread, but we need to get the jaws right. So in the drawing, it starts out going over the top part of the jaw and under. So that's what we're going to work on. It goes over and then under. So that's what caught my attention when we started doing the heavier line, because I realized something not right here. All right, so that's what it should look like. Okay, so that's what it's going to look like all the way across. Again, I think I'm just going to go ahead and speed up the video because that's kind of self-explanatory. There's not much to explain there. Just remember it goes over the top part and under, and the rest of it should be fine. Okay, so we are done with the over and under for all of the threads, and we are now ready to go in and kind of just clean up. I'm just going to take a moment before I decide to go over these lines darker and just maybe clean up a couple of things that I want to be a little less, right, like I don't really want this to be as pointy as it is, so we're going to round this out. Let's see, any other points that I want to, yeah, I kind of want to clean this up a little bit. This doesn't need to be as pointy over here. I just want them a little rounder, not as pointed, that's all. And anything that's a little too ragged, I'll go ahead and... I'm going to probably use a blendy stump. On this. So the sketchiness won't really matter too much because I'm going to use a blend stump to kind of clean things up and blend things in. It's kind of usually what I do with, let me clean this up just a smidge. And maybe clean this up a little bit. When I drew these, they were more or less a triangle shape. Just to kind of get the shape right. Okay, so I think we are ready to just kind of go in and darken the lines. I don't think I'm going to do a finished piece out of this because I've already done one. I'm just going to kind of take you to the point where you can jump off and do your own thing. I've already done one, and I like this so much that I'm going to use this as a template, and at some future project I'm going to wood burn this onto a horizontal plaque. I may put some border work around it or something like that, but I love this, so I'm going to recreate this on a wood burning piece. Coming in the future. I'm not going to say soon because I got a whole long list of projects I got to work on, but it's going to come. It's on my list of to-do. All right, so what I think I'm going to do for the rest of this drawing is I'm just going to go in and I'm going to darken up the main lines. I'm going to leave all the little details in there for last. That's mainly what is going on in the original drawing is they put very thin lines here and put like a thin outline over each shape. I may or may not do that with this piece. Since I already did it, you can see what it looks like. I don't really want to redo that again and make this too long of a video for you. So, but I will go over all of the main lines so that it's a cleaner drawing and you can see the way that it all flows. Okay, so let me grab a darker pencil and we're going to go in and we're going to go back into these lines, clean them up, clean up the drawing so that you can see. And if I stop talking, then I'll probably, it just means I'm going to speed up the video at that point. Because a lot of it is very repetitious and it's really not necessary for me to be sitting here chatting at you the whole time. And as I go, I'm going to kind of make any changes to the lines that I want to make. Probably what I'll do is I'll kind of walk you through anything at this stage that I think you need to know, and then I'm just going to stop talking and just speed up the video. So at this point we are just tracing, and I like to kind of start with the big stuff first. Get the big stuff out of the way first, because it'll make it easier for you to see all the little bits. And I'm just going to kind of start rubbing out a little bit of it, just a little bit of that. That's a little heavy there. All right. So we got this first link is outlined. For this link, this is the leg. So this is its front leg. If you can visualize that, right? This is attached to it. It is its front leg, and its front leg kind of wanders off. This is its back leg. And its back leg kind of winds its way through its jaws, through the links, and then off into the corner. Okay, and if we want at this point, we can. All right, now, so we got the first link. The first link is done. Let's do the next link. And these shapes, they don't have to be perfect, but just keep them consistent. And it's one thing in the first video, if you watched it, something I say a lot. It's not about perfection, because you can see the hand of the artist in the original. It's definitely not perfect, but just keep it consistent. That's kind of the key. You're shooting for creating a rhythmic, kind of consistent looking design. So you can do any variations of this. You can vary the thickness and thinness of the lines if you want. You can move the heads over that way, the hind legs over. You can make, misshapen these if you want to. There's a lot you can do with this to make it your own. You can paint this onto something if you're an artist or a crafter. This will look really beautiful on, I don't know, maybe a plate, piece of wood. Or just an art piece in general. Let's clean this up. Now at some point this is going to get smudged. So what I'm going to have to think a little bit about how I do this, because it'll get smudged. It'll get my hands all over it smudged. It's already starting to smudge. Just a real quick note about that: when you're working in pencil or charcoal or anything that can smudge, just take a piece of paper and put it under your hand as you're working, and it'll help that. I don't want to do that because then I feel like that's going to junk up your view. So Alright, so we got, let's see, another link, and let's put its front leg in there. Alright, so you can kind of see it taking shape. So I think what I might do is I'll do like half of this, if I can do this upside down. So when you do this, it's going to be much easier for you to turn the page, to turn your whole drawing pad. I've done this a couple of times now, so I'm kind of getting used to doing it upside down, but you don't have to. You can flip your page. All right, I think this is going to be the point where I stop yapping at you. And I'm just going to kind of work this until I get to, I'm going to do these 2 big links, and then when I stop, then we're going to go back and we're going to do this next thread. Okay, so I'm going to stop yapping and I'm going to just work on this and get this done. Okay, we are now ready. Let me do their teardrop legs. We are now ready to do a couple of these longer ones in the center. My pencil's not sharp anymore, so let me grab something that is sharp-ish. All right, so let's start here, and we're just going to go over these lines. They kind of look decent already, some of them. And I'm just going to clean them up. Give rid of some of the sketchy look. Make them a little more solid. Again, they don't have to be perfect. If you look at the originals from, 1,500 years ago or more, they weren't perfect. You could see the hand of the artist in them. It wasn't really about perfection. It was about creating an effect. Okay, so we have the first one. Now let's do this one here. We'll go to the next one. And kind of as you are working on these, this has a little less detail than what it probably could have. But there's certain little things, like when the line comes off the leg, it's sort of wider, and then it narrows. And there's just little details like that that'll help kind of bring your drawing, make it look a little more understandable as an animal. And there's a lot of like little details like that in the original that if I tried to sit here and go through that, that would be something that would take a long time. This is not going to be a finished drawing because I already did one. All right, so there we go. There's that line. Let's go down the bottom. We're going to start with this one. So the first part of this tutorial, like I mentioned in the beginning, is on Patreon. I started a new Patreon page so that I could do more complex stuff like this, and so that I could do longer like DIY videos and things like that. There's not much on it, I'm going to admit that right now, but If you want to see deeper information, sometimes I get into the historical explanation of things. It might be worth your time to, for only $4 a month, it's not, I was going to do 5, but I figured, let's drop it. Let's drop it to $4 a month because everybody's really hurting right now. But at least it kind of helps me get together materials I need. It helps me to, where am I at here? It helps me to have the time to put together these because they're very time consuming. As time consuming as it is for the video itself, I spend 10 times that amount of time researching, doing the history, practicing, breaking things down, figuring out how to teach it, because that's a big part of the issues. Like, not just that you're watching me do it, but I am trying to kind of teach you how to do it yourself. So that's kind of important. Okay, where am I at here? And how am I on time? All right, we're gonna stop because this is like an hour. We're at an hour, and I didn't mean to take that long. So we're gonna, well, by the time you see it, it might be less because I'm gonna speed up parts of it. But anyway, this is how it's gonna start taking shape for you. From here, once you darken all these lines, you can then go back and you can stylize it. You can ink it. It looks amazing inked like that. And they went in and they did like these double lines through all the big loops and the haunches here and the back leg and the front leg. They all have those thin double lines inside of them. So if you wanted to go in and ink it, you could add texture, to it. You can use colored pencil, paint, watercolor, whatever your medium is, you can go ahead and do that. You can even just leave it as a pencil drawing, and you can go in and use your blendy stump. I have one, I can't find mine right now, but anyway, you can go in and use a blendy stump and you can blend it, and you can add in shadows where they overlap, like I've done in previous videos. So that there's so many different things that you can do with it from here. So my goal wasn't like to take it all the way to a finished product, but it was just to show you how to work it, how to put it together. The first video put it all together for you. Again, I'm pushing it, but Patreon, please join me there, because I'm going to be bringing a lot of really interesting stuff there. It's not there yet, but it will be. I'm building it up. And watch some of my other videos. Watch the previous video on YouTube to this one. And yeah, subscribe, share. For anybody who is currently supporting me on Patreon, thank you so much. And I do apologize for Patreon viewers that this got screwed up at the end of that first video. I was really a rookie mistake, and I was not happy with myself when that happened. But anyway, this is a long video, so I'm going to let you guys move on with your day. I'm going to move on with mine. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned a little something about how to do maybe slightly more complex designs. And I have much more planned. A lot more planned for the future, so stay tuned, and happy drawing. Bye bye.